Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Hey guys, how's it going? Underground Geek here. So as you know, this time of the week I do my Comicsgate news, and what I normally try to do is I try to accumulate all the stories, all the things going on this week, and put it in one video so that you don't have to watch like 10-15 videos like some people do, where they make 4 or 5 videos on the same subject. Nothing against that, but if you don't have time to watch all of those, here's one video about things going on in comic books. And you know, I do some of the drama stuff, but at the same time I try to do some of the actual things going on, because that way you get a good medium. But I want to start out with one of the silliest things I've seen. This is something that Marvel can't stop doing. They can't stop over marketing everything that happens. And just like you can see in the little corner right here, they have Entertainment Magazine with Han Solo on the cover of it, which is okay. I mean, I get it. But so now what they're doing is, since you got the Han Solo movie coming out, they said, hey, let's come out with like 15 new books. Let's give every single character in that movie their own book, because there's no way anything could go wrong with that. We see right here, you got this is a novel, and then you've got another novel, and then you got a couple of comic books. And so basically they're trying to hit like all the markets here. It says each new Star Wars film comes with a constellation of novels, comics, and storybooks surrounding and enhancing the narrative. There you go. And I love how they use the word narrative. Nobody used that word until like 4 or 5 years ago in this term. It's like now everything's a narrative. In the exclusive preview, Lucasfilm Publishing creative director Michael Siglin takes EU on a journey through the books of the Solo Star Wars story. Let's see if I can click on this without it flipping to like all kinds of advertisements. You have Last Shot. The author of Half Resurrection, Blues, and Sharpshooter has penned this novel that connects 3 eras in the lives of Han Solo and Lando Calrissian. Part of it takes place before the events of Solo and focuses on Lando and his robot. Siglin says, referring to Lando's droid sidekick in the new film, because everybody cares about that. Part of it takes place between Solo and A New Hope that focuses on Han and Chewie. There you go. So we got that book. It says a Han and Lando novel. I love how they do that. A Han and Lando novel. God bless. And it says part of it takes place post Return of the Jedi, and that's where we see Han, Leia, and a very young Ben Solo and Lando come into the story. The cover is reversible, and on one side is Han silhouette and the other is Lando. See if I can get to this without doing some kind of advertisement. Oh look, an advertisement. There's some more of the covers there. And then you have Star Wars Most Wanted. It says oh god, right off the bat, the YA book by the author of The Girl of Fire and Thorns focuses on Alden, God bless this person's name, Han Solo and Emilia Clarke's Cure back in their teenage years. This is about the younger young Han Solo. We'll see what it was like for these two kids from Corellia to survive the seedy streets in the industrial world. I guess the next book is going to be like Baby Han Solo. And then you got Lando Calrissian. They're trying really hard to push this Donald Glover, or yeah, is it Donald Glover? Yeah. The Marvel Comics miniseries is written by Ronald Barnes and will play out over 5 issues. It focuses on Lando, set during an incident right before the film, with backstory about Lando and L3. They keep bringing up the robot like it matters. Nobody cares. The series debuts the Wednesday after the movie opens. Since its story is closely tied in, coming out of the film, we think everyone is going to want to read. Oh my god, there's a typo right there. OT instead of TO. Read more about Lando. And then there's the art of Han Solo, so then you can get a book to look at the art. And then there's Han Solo. Pretty much, you know how they used to do those books where it would show you like all the technology and all the characters and everything, and then you get some dice, because that's cool. So just like I said before, they like to really over market everything when it comes to that kind of stuff, and it really, I mean, it really takes the fun out of it, because it's like everywhere you go is Star Wars. Star Wars was never supposed to be that big, okay? And you've blown it way out of proportion, and now everywhere I go I see Darth Vader, and it kind of takes the fun out of it. So moving on, our next story is Chris Claremont returns to the X-Men for Colossus and Kitty's wedding. That's a big deal because Chris Claremont writes some really great X-Men titles. It says legendary writer Chris, I can't say his name, Claremont returns to X-Men for an all-new story in X-Men Wedding Special #1. It says a comparison one-shot to the Kitty Pryde and Colossus wedding taking place in X-Men Gold 30. And it's funny how they're doing two different stories about the same thing. The side story will feature Kitty Pryde, who is marrying her fellow X-Men Colossus. In the pages of X-Men Gold, a story being billed as the wedding of the century. Actually, no, the wedding of the century would be Mary Jane and Spider-Man, but you keep killing that. Writers Kelly Thompson and Mark Guggenheim, oh god, that guy, will also provide stories of the momentous occasion, along with artists Greg Land, Marika Cresta, and others not yet announced. It says X-Men weddings are always a big deal, if only because they're so rare. Kelly Thompson says in Marvel's press release, I think you probably have to go all the way back to X-Men 30 1994, the wedding of Jean Grey and Cyclops, to get a wedding as potentially big as the wedding of Kitty Pryde and Colossus. Actually, no, because nobody really cares about this wedding. Nobody cares about these characters because you've ruined them. Now you're bringing in Chris Claremont just hoping that it will draw in people, and he'll write it good, and then it'll go back to the same crappy characters as before. Nobody cares about these two characters. You have emasculated Colossus. Half the time he can't use his powers. He's a big dummy now. And then you got Kitty Pryde, which is like this spiteful, just bitter person that looks like a boy. And then she asks him to marry her. I mean, the girl has dated like everybody and keeps running off and leaving them. And then all of a sudden she comes back and says, will you marry me? I mean, it's so stupid. So I'm probably going to get it because Chris Claremont's doing the book and he's great. But I'm not going to get anything else because these characters suck. Now, at the same time, let's talk about Brian Michael Bendis, because he also has something to do with Kitty Pryde. It says he's working on a title for an X-Men movie. And it's funny because, you know, he went over to DC, but he's still working on this. And it said, if the film's name has any significance beyond simply being a working title, it will lie within the comics themselves, but it might not be anything super obvious. And it's titled 143. So far, that's a working title. And if you go back to Uncanny X-Men 143, it's Kitty Pryde as she takes on a demon attacking the mansion when the other mutants have all left for Christmas Eve break. So they're trying to say that it's probably a Kitty Pryde movie. So we don't really know that much about it yet, but let's see. I was trying to read. Good idea, wrong number. Oh, I was trying to read more about it, but so apparently he's working on that, trying to work with Tim Miller to direct, and so that's also the guy that did Deadpool, Tim Miller. So we'll see how that goes. Now, we don't really know that much about it yet, but I'm kind of wondering why. Like, why all these X-Men movies about characters nobody cares about? But, you know, it could be about something else. But if they're right, nobody cares about Kitty Pryde. The actress that played Juno was in one movie with her, or like two, really. And she's just not that cool of a character. I don't understand. I'm really waiting for New Mutants. I think that's going to be a lot better. But, so moving on. Let's see what else we got here. You had this book that came out, and go away. And it was for the Telltale series. It was Deadshot reimagined as Batman's Dark Reflection and Sins of the Father. Now, I tried reading the comic book, and the art was trash. but it's called Sins of the Father, and its writer Chris Cage, best known for his work on the Netflix series Daredevil, hasn't forgotten that his first comic book project was Deadshot miniseries. And so he's doing the Batman Sins of the Father, which is supposed to tie in the Telltale series. And it says, working with artist Raphael Lenko, Cage will explore what happens to Bruce Wayne as he works to rebuild his family's reputation after the shocking revelation that Thomas Wayne wasn't the heroic father people thought he was. And it says, Christos, how did you hear about the path that Telltale video game was taking with Bruce's family? It says, editor Jim Chadwick asked if I would be interested in writing a project, so I took a look at the online playthroughs of Season 1, and I was really impressed by the bold moves Telltale made with the Batman canon. And as you can see, this art is rough. Really rough. God. I mean, it's just bad. Ugh. It's like it's almost good, but then they weren't good enough to make it what it could be. So then you get this trash. Oh gosh. So anyway, moving on. Dan Slott has deactivated his Twitter, and no one really knows why, but he did it about the same time that there was that school mass shooting. And we know that he's big on sparking out when things happen and like making it all about him. So it could be that. It could also be in the wake of DC Comics' new social media protocol that they came out with, and Marvel may be utilizing their own kind, and this may be Dan Slott's way of acting out. Now, is it a big loss? No, because he's blocked like 50 to 60,000 people on Twitter. And if you've looked at the numbers of Spider-Man, it's 50 to 60,000. Can you imagine if he befriended those people and tried to honestly hear them out and make his comic book better? He would be selling 100,000 copies now of Spider-Man. That's insane. Or at least 80,000. He would still be a top tier in Marvel right now. Now, he was the biggest seller at Marvel because it was trash. Everybody was in the 20 to 30 to 10 range, and he was selling consistently 50,000. But he was selling consistently 50,000 because he had one of the most well-known characters and one of the highest characters for people that are completists. Now, a completist is someone who has a comic book on their pool regardless because they're trying to get every issue ever made. And Spider-Man's one of those. They want every issue ever made of Spider-Man. And they don't actually care about the comic. They want all of them because they like the character. And they might not even read it. So that's the thing. Because, I mean, when he did Silver Surfer, it got canceled. So that should go ahead and tell you that that character's, obviously what's holding him up. But now he's off of it, and they're putting him on Iron Man, which is a big mistake. But I think it's really going to, this is going to show what's wrong with him, personality-wise and writing-wise. Because when Iron Man comes back out and it starts selling terrible again, then you're going to see, maybe it's just Dan Slott. But this all right here is just silly. I think it's hilarious that he acts out like this all the time. Like I said, it could be based on a school shooting, could be based on a social media thing, but he likes to make everything about him. I'm sure he'll come back and be like, oh, look at me, I'm back, blah, 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 Trump sucks, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see that before long. Now, on another subject, Rob Liefeld, the guy that created Deadpool and has pretty much done nothing else but make terrible art for the rest of his life, he recently blocked me and a bunch of other people on Twitter just for commenting on him being dumb. And he has extremely thin skin. It was really weird for him to just start sparking out on people all of a sudden. And I think that it was kind of a ploy to become more popular again. But I had this sent to me, and I had no idea because nobody keeps up with Rob Liefeld because nobody gives a crap. But apparently he had this Kickstarter where he was starting this new book, and it was called Brigade. He was relaunching the series, and he started it in 2013, and got $35,000 from Kickstarter backers, and still has not produced the book. Now, this is what really ticks me off, and people say, oh, well, we need to get along with these kind of people. People have started talking to guys like B. Clay Moore and things like that. No. These people are thieves. They're stealing from people. B. Clay Moore still has $20,000 that he's taken from Kickstarters and still has not produced the book. Then you have people like Rob Liefeld that dare to act pretentious on Twitter and still have not produced a book. He has 562 backers on his Kickstarter with $35,000 on there and still has not produced anything. This blows my mind. If I can go down here to the comment section, I mean, it really just blows my mind. Look, he's got this page up here with all these characters. He's got the cover on there. He's been working on this, blah, blah, blah. This is probably like 2014, 2015. And people are, they want their stuff. I mean, this is fraud. This is thievery. This is stealing. And you got comments right here. In just February 9th, it's like, Rob, we could use another update on the shipping of the printing books. Thanks. And then at the same time, you need to go to your profile to upper right corner on the computer, click on the thing where they're talking about, you know, updating the response that says, remember that Rob will be doubling our comics order and that we will have the very, very hard to find extreme 25th birthday comic. So with Brigade comic, it will be worth the wait. Oh yeah, because you know, you want to wait like 10 years on a book. It says, must be the world's slowest printer. It says, hey Rob, December is ticking away. What are the odds of shipping in 2017? So that was way back in 2017. Rob, it is the 8th of December. Is Brigade Returns comics still coming out in December? Oh my gosh. And here's somebody back in November 21st pledging $10. It's just sad. I mean, these kind of people do not deserve our time. They're thieves, they're frauds. People like B. Clay Moore is the same way. He threatens to beat people up and he says, oh, I was just kidding. You know, it's like, you wouldn't have said it then. You would have said, haha, I was just kidding. You wouldn't have like tried to mean it was serious. And it says, oh, it was stupid guy talk. I've never threatened to beat somebody up and called it stupid guy talk. You're being stupid. But that's pretty much all I had to say. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I hope you like the news for today. I got some more videos that should be coming out later. I'm going on a trip this weekend, so I probably won't be doing any videos. But I definitely want to do this and let you guys know what's happening in the community. But I hope you like these videos. Don't forget to help me on my maker support. That's going to go towards my new comic book that I'm producing called The Ghost. And have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. Underground Geek out.
I wish I knew you when I was young.